You know, I'm not a marriage counselor, I just play one on TV. No matter how happy you are in your relationship, discussing money can still lead to arguments. This has many couples just saying, yeah, you know what, let's just not talk about it. Local financial professional John Vandergriff from Blue Ridge Wealth Planners is here to say, hey, you need to talk about it because you're going to make some mistakes. So let's start right there. What are mistakes that couples make with their finances, especially when they don't talk about it?
Well, I think that's the first one. You know, when you look at the reason for divorce, finances is usually number one,
Really?
but I think the lack of conversation and knowing how to talk about it really leads to a lot of the problems that exist, because that can be maybe related to financial infidelity, where somebody's spending something and that their spouse doesn't want them to do.
You mean all the Amazon packages that show up to the back door?
Yeah, it's hard to hide those, but maybe in some other ways. But also just failure to plan. Normally in most relationships, when we sit down with people, there'll be one spouse that may take the lead when it comes to finances. Right. Sometimes the other one may be trust, and whenever that planning doesn't get there, that can cause a rift in that relationship. So we want to make sure that, obviously, if you don't know where to talk about money, talking to a financial advisor, I do, like you said, sometimes end up being a marriage counselor, but sometimes you've got to bring people together, because a plan is only going to move in one direction. You're not going to have
Do you find that you might have someone come in and maybe suggest having their spouse come in with them, or when you're doing your type of things with them?
No, I almost make it a requirement in some cases, because especially in the phase of life where we work at Blue Ridge Retirement, even if one spouse is the lead, the other one may be the one who takes over for that if that spouse dies. So you need to be able to make sure, even if there's not an interest there, both people are on the same page and have an awareness. That way you don't have as much time or things to catch them up on over time.
What kind of questions should partners be asking each other when it comes to financial matters?
So the first one is, what is the budget? Where do those monies need to be at? And again, when we sit down with people for the first time, it's amazing how far apart those answers are. Sometimes people think, oh, this is what the utilities are, that's the budget. No, you spend more than that. So you want to make sure you're on the same page there. You also want to look at it from a standpoint of, you know, really what is mine, what is yours, what is ours. And that for us normally comes into, if you've got like a second marriage and you've got maybe some things that you're sharing or keeping separate on purpose, you just want to lay out the expectations and make sure you're understanding where those things are, who's responsible for what. And then the last one, what are money personalities? You know, typically the most common are spenders versus savers. And usually people say, oh, what's the right mixture there? I think as long as you've got one of each, you usually have a pretty good balance.
What happens when you don't? When you have two spenders?
Two spenders don't ever have any money. Two savers don't ever enjoy it. So you want to be able to have a little bit of a mix there. But usually the saver having a little bit more control helps the family a little better off. But just understanding who and where you naturally lean to, and then what that does and the dynamics that does for your family.
Okay. Now, my last advice would be, since it is Valentine's Day, don't be afraid to spend some money on your significant other.
That is good advice. That is good advice always. It's not as big of a deal in our house because my birthday's about as equal a part as Ashley's, so we just kind of, I'll cook her dinner that night, but birthdays really trump the Valentine's Day in February. So.
And now we know more about the Vandergriff family.
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
It's a busy month.
Thank you very much.